brought to you by our friends of the British Council. Hey everybody, Matt McCarthy back for Rugby Wrap Up here at the Fantasy Sports Network Studio 34 on West 35th Street in Manhattan, and we have a big show continuing for you. We have Jennifer Jones, the head coach of Rutgers, who was just hanging out with us because she's already shot her segment, actually.
Yep, just enjoying my time here.
Right, so she's just going to observe our conversation with our featured guest in this segment, Mr. Justin Fitzpatrick. Justin's calling in from Houston. Justin, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you, Matt?
I'm excellent. I'm even better now that you're on our screen with us, my friend. It's a pleasure. All right, so folks, if you don't know who Justin Fitzpatrick is, you have to get out of your closet once in a while. He's had a remarkable rugby career as a player, which has now transitioned into a coach. And Justin, I'm going to run down the list, and interrupt me if I'm wrong at any given point. London Irish from 1994 to 1998. He made his league debut at the age of 19. So from there, Justin, you moved to Ulster in 98, and you played with Ulster from 98 to 2003. And in the meantime, from 98 to 2003, you earned, I think, 26 caps with Ireland as a prop. You left Ulster and you went to the beaches of Castres, France, and I don't know if Castres has any beaches or not, but it does for this episode. You went to Castres, France, Castres Olympique.
2 years, yeah.
And you won the Coupe de France, the French Cup.
How very Gallic of you. Yes, that's true.
All right, but while you were with Ulster, you won the European Champions Cup?
Well, yeah, first Irish side to win a European Cup, yes.
First Irish side to win the European Cup. So you've had a lot of hardware as a player. You also had 156 caps with Ulster, who you returned to after 2 years in France, and then had a whole bunch of great years there until you retired in 2010 because of a neck injury. Did you also play with the Barbarians?
I did, yeah. I had the privilege of playing a few times with the Barbarians.
What was that like?
Incredible experience. Brought together a lot of very quality players, and went some interesting places, and really enjoyed the ethos and my time there with them.
So, what would you say your favorite time as a player was?
I think, you touched upon some of the teams and trophies that I was privileged enough to be part of winning, and those are enormous highlights. Winning my first cap with the Irish national team, winning a European Cup. Those are very, very special moments because they happen with such rarity. In my experience. Treasure those moments. Very closely.
And when you were playing in Castres, you guys won what was called the French Cup or the Coupe de France.
Yeah, just an internal competition, a knockout cup competition, and we went through to the final and won it, which was great, and that qualified us for they used that as a qualification for the Heineken Cup the following year. So that meant a lot. All the big teams played in it, and it was a good time.
Just remarkable. A lot of hardware won on the pitch, and then you transitioned into the coaching world. I just want to see is it Dungannon? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Dungannon, yeah, in County Tyrone, Northern Ireland.
So you coached there, and you were also in the development side, recruitment side. You got players like Greg Gilroy and Paddy Jackson. Is that accurate?
Yeah, found both those guys out of school, and both went on to be Irish internationals. And,
from your time playing, you got to see the advent of professional rugby in the United States, because what a lot of people professional rugby on the planet, because a lot of folks don't realize that professional rugby didn't start until like 1996.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was right there at the start. Did a couple of years as an amateur while I was still at a college studying, and then the game went professional, and that was an interesting time. And it's seen a lot of changes, mostly for the betterment over this last 20 years.
So, with that, you have that knowledge, you have the playing resume, you had that coaching resume. So you came over to the United States. You came to Seattle, where you started coaching, which was then OPS, which is what, Old Puget Sound Beach, which became Seattle Saracens.
Well, it was OPSB and Seattle Rugby Club combined and became Seattle Saracens. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys won a bunch of hardware there, including the Elite Cup, and you started coaching as an assistant coach with Team USA in 2013. We met on the 2015 Rugby World Cup campaign, and now, cut to today, you're in your office as head coach of the Houston SaberCats of the brand spanking new Major League Rugby setup.
Yeah, it's been an interesting few years. A lot of positive experiences, and really feel very privileged to be down here in Houston and setting up the new MLR team down here, the SaberCats.
And keeping your hand in history, you are the first coach to win a match as an MLR head coach. Even though it was an exhibition match against Seattle Saracens, it still counts in my book.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it.
And did it have any extra good feeling for you coaching against the team that you'd been with?
Look, it was a very special day. I mean, we broke the domestic attendance records. We had over 5,000 people turn up for our inaugural game, which is great to see so many people, rugby and non-rugby, come out to support us. In terms of the match, I had mixed emotions. Obviously, over the last 6 months, we've brought together a great group of guys here, a very talented bunch of players, and very, very proud of what we are doing down here. Having coached Seattle Saracens over the last four years, as I said to some of the guys afterwards, it was mixed emotions. It was a bit like watching your mother-in-law drive over the cliff in a new Cadillac. It's mixed emotions.
Like watching your mother-in-law drive over the cliff in a Cadillac. I like that. I like that a lot.
In your own Cadillac.
In your own Cadillac, right. It wouldn't matter if it was just a Cadillac.
Yeah, it's got to be your own.
Right. So for American sports fans, they're not necessarily familiar with the setup of professional franchises in rugby overseas. Here, liken it to like what a general manager on a sports team and a head coach. You're wearing various hats. You're doing various duties. You're not just a head coach in the traditional American sense of a professional franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about American other sports franchises here in America. As you've alluded to there, I've been involved in professional sport across Europe for the last 20 years on both sides of the whistle, so to speak, and I've seen various coaches do it in different ways and have different responsibilities. And as you say, I have varied responsibilities here down in Houston, which I'm really enjoying and thoroughly embracing.
Jennifer, you have a question for Justin?
Yeah. What would you say some of the biggest challenges are for you or your team?
Well, I mean, 8-9 months ago, there wasn't a team, so we've had to go from 0 to 60 really over the last half a year, in terms of getting facilities, all the logistical back end that requires, the management team, the staff, the players, medical, you name it, we all had to do, and we're very, very lucky here. We've got a group of very passionate investors. We've got a great front office, and we've got some great staff here. I'm very lucky to have likes of Sam Windsor and Matt Trouville working alongside me, amongst others, and it's coming together nicely. Lots still to do, but we're making progress, I feel.
Justin, I've got two questions, and you can answer them in the order that you see fit. A, what are the league challenges? And B, what are you feeding Matt Trouville, because he is a beast now?
Yeah, Matt's really responding well to being in a daily and training environment. He's a consummate professional. He takes his nutrition, as all professional athletes should do, very, very seriously, and he's reaping the rewards of that. In terms of things to overcome from a league standpoint. You know, as we said here, we are a new franchise. We are a new program. So, you know, we had and have everything to do from scratch. That obviously creates challenges, but I also believe opportunities, in so much as we can think about it and put in the processes we want and not be building on somebody else's processes. So it's a lot of work, but I think intellectually it's very exciting.
Well, it's all good stuff, and unfortunately we're getting barked at in the headphones again. Jennifer, how many times have you heard this today? But we have to cut this one right now, Justin. We can talk to you forever, and we'll get you back on. Final question for you, though, or it's more of a statement. Nate Osborne, your fellow assistant coach with Team USA on the Eagles during the whole World Cup run, is now a head coach of your rival in the MLR, Major League Rugby, the NOLA Gold, the New Orleans, Louisiana Gold. And he said on this very show, on that very monitor, just weeks ago, that his team was going to run the table and win the championship. You have anything you want to say to that?
Does he want to put a bet on it?
All right. Does he want to put a bet on it? We'll leave it at that. Mr. Fitzpatrick, thank you for taking the time, and your patience is much appreciated. Jennifer, thanks for sitting in. And
thanks for having me.
And being our number one fan today.
It's been great.
All right. Thanks, guys. On behalf of Mr. Fitzpatrick and Jennifer Jones, Matt McCarthy here at Rugby Wrap Up at Studio 34, the Fantasy Sports Network in New York City, signing off.